beautiful souls, and welcome to Break the Cycle, a podcast that focuses on how we shift from intergenerational trauma to intergenerational abundance. I'm your host, Dr. Mariel, and I have my favorite human on this planet joining me on the podcast in this episode. It's my nephew, Aiden, who is 16 years old, and he himself is somebody who I'm so incredibly proud of. And I am going to be joined by my sister, who is his mother, Lady, who is going to help me to actually interview Aiden. And we're going to gather some insights about how he is experiencing the cycle breaking that is happening in our family from his perspective, and also as a Gen Z and in a world that is very oriented around technology and where there was a whole pandemic and so many other things that are going to be really critical for us to have, as data and as information as millennials that are hoping to raise emotionally resilient and emotionally mature and intelligent kids. So without further ado, here's my favorite little human, Aiden. Okay, so welcome to this episode of Break the Cycle with probably my favorite guest, my nephew, my munchkin, my godson, my son, Aiden.
Hello.
Hey, applause. And who has, in essence, become my co-host.
The greatest co-host, right? Yeah, I think I should be a permanent co-host.
When people get titles or awards, aren't they awarded to them, not self-awarded?
No, they can be self-proclaimed.
Okay.
The child has spoken. Aiden, welcome.
Thank you for welcoming me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
It is?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know, he just said that. Right?
That was so nice. I have some really important questions to ask you.
Okay.
And I'm really excited that you have been willing to have this conversation.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Oh. I'm sorry, I can't get used to that.
He's like our Gen Z / millennial. He's not a true Gen Z.
No, because us millennials were not okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think he has the emotional, acuity of a Gen Z. He definitely is, a step above us.
He really is.
But Aiden.
Yeah.
I wanted to get us started with, really, if you could help us to understand, what's something in your life, in your childhood, that you feel is really, really memorable? What sticks out for you?
What's really memorable for me, I would say the times that I spent with you guys just in general with my friends, the times that I would go over to my friend's house. His name was Fabian. You guys should remember him. I would go over to his house all the time, almost every day during the summer. And then just the time that I would spend inside the house with our old dog, Freddie. I remember him. I still love him. And, yeah, just every memorable moment that I spent with you guys has really been just amazing, and I love every moment.
Wow.
I wasn't expecting that.
The teenager is saying that?
I know.
You never say these things to us very explicitly. I mean, I feel your love. But wow. I remember that Thanksgiving card where you, in pre-K, you had to say who you were most thankful for, and you said, my grandmother because she gives me food after school, and my dog Freddie.
And that's it. Nobody else. We were all excluded.
We were
that's it.
What about
us?
What about Grandpa?
Yeah, Freddie was like my dog uncle. I loved him.
Dog uncle.
That was
I
my
love
dog
that.
uncle. I loved him.
Facts on facts.
They did grow up together.
Yeah.
Freddie was there before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was actually kind of fun seeing them,
Yeah.
Seeing Aiden grow with Freddie, and Freddie thinking that Aiden's toys were his.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're 16 now, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, childhood, ages 0 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like it's, I'm clearly stuttering because this is a really hard question to ask a teenager, but do you feel like you had a solid childhood, a good childhood, as far as you can see because you're still a kid?
Yeah. I'm still growing, but as you said, from like when I was born to like 13, during that age, um, I would say like my childhood, I wouldn't say perfect because obviously nothing's perfect, but I was really blessed with everything that came around me, and just like everybody that was around me, family included, friends, everybody. And I was just blessed. I can't really like put more into detail. Like everybody was just the best for me. Like they tried their best for me.
Okay.
So
it's a wrap.
That's it.
That's the
My
episode.
job is done.
That's it.
Right?
Do you believe yourself to be resilient?
resilient, yeah. I feel like over at times, what's it called? Like obviously, there's gonna be times in our lives where we're gonna be hurt, in different periods and times, but I'm a very like why type of person. Like, oh, why did this happen? I don't understand this. Why? But over time, as like I grow up, I stop like asking why, and I just start asking like what's next. Because I mean, if you just stay stuck in the same place, you're not really taking any big steps forward. So I feel like that's really
going on 60. I see.
so yeah. That's just my mindset on things. Like I just feel like if I can't stay stuck in the same place, if it's not gonna be like leading me anywhere. So yeah.
So you think that a part of your resilience is your ability to get through situations and not get stuck in them?
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from?
Just like past experiences and what's it called? My mom always like bringing me through them and just like coaching me on how to do stuff. So I really appreciate it.
Awesome mom.
Absolutely.
I'd like to say you have an awesome god mom too.
Yeah. Of course.
But yeah, you're very lucky. I mean, your mom is someone who I have seen do things that I've never seen other parents do.
Mm-hmm.
And even like when you were little, she used to say, speak to him in complete sentences.
Yeah, I never liked the baby talk.
Yeah, and it was like, these things where I'm like, where did you even learn that? Like, because everybody around us was like, goo goo gaga, right? And she was like, no, let's talk to him in this way. And
which developed his language quite early, because by the time he was like 1.5, he was talking to us in like 2-3 word sentences, like specifically asking for what he wanted, and knowing things by their name.
Yeah,
there weren't like, we didn't use those like pet names for things. Like if he wanted milk, he asked for milk. It wasn't like the Baba or the other names that people give it, so that like in that baby language. We never did that.
Yeah, I remember like you were so young, maybe 2.5, and you were like, I was picking up the pumpkin.
And it had bugs on it.
I don't want to touch the bug.
We love that story.
Oh, we know. I got a solid reminder
Aiden,
every month.
how many pumpkins did you get?
1, 2, 3, a lot.
I wish I never picked up the pumpkin. I don't want it no more.
I don't want it anymore.
You guys can keep it.
You can't take it back.
I don't want it.
It's ingrained in our memory.
Oh,
like, it's become a permanent Aiden memory.
That's a pumpkin.
There's an Aiden box in our head, and that little voice is there.
Okay.
And it's pumpkin season.
No. The season needs to end now. It needs to be over and done with.
We love you.
I love you too.
But, I am glad to see that there have been these, like, really beautiful, memorable, joyous, humorous moments that we've been able to offer you because we have aired. I know that when you were really little, like, I yelled at you. First time I yelled at you. I've yelled at you, like, 3 times, I think.
Times.
3. But this one time, like, you were, like, it was the first time I ever yelled at you, and you must have been, like, 6. And you were, like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, you never heard. And mind you, like, we come from yelling. Like, we're Dominican, so, like, it's definitely a part of the cultural norm, too, right? Like, to yell at kids. Yeah. But you were so shocked. It was so out of your, like, norm. And it really shocked me because I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's
like,
not.
We don't do that.
And also, like, I saw how you were responding, and I was like, you poor thing. Like, it's almost like I almost kind of gave you this um, experience that took you out of like your realm of like knowledge, but even like maybe your humanity, and you were like, is this also a part of what it is to be human? It was almost like a moment like that. And so I have to ask you, did I screw you up?
No. I'm good where I'm at today, and I thank you guys for it. That did not screw me up in any type of way. Um, if anything, from other experiences, I've learned like how to grow up on my own and just like not take things for granted and just like learn lessons out of every like, let's say, bad thing that comes out. So even if it did mess me up, like I would learn something from it, and I would just like be appreciative of that. But no, I feel like you guys did a great job raising me, including my grandparents. So
Oh yeah, we can't forget mom and dad.
Well,
know.
you did live in a very unique situation where you had a multi-generational home where there
Yeah.
were three
Yeah.
generations there always. And so I think that definitely, I think it contributed to a number of things. I think your emotional intelligence, which is supreme.
thank you.
I'm sure it helps to have a psychologist as you know, an aunt.
Why does it always go back to her?
Because, I just need to be a part of this because it's so beautiful. And I just, but I think that because everybody was really cautious about how to
We were
engage
very
you.
intentional about the way we raised you. You know, even when it came down to our family interactions with one another. You know, not to say that, we wanted to shelter you or keep you from certain things or from having certain experiences, but we wanted to like break the cycle, right?
We did.
Of raising you up in trauma.
Right.
Yeah, we've seen some stuff. But I I don't think we've done it to 100%.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we're human.
Yeah, but there have been times when I've been like, I've gotten into a tussle with grandma because me and grandma be tussling because we're literally the same person. But it has, whenever I've had like a disagreement with grandma, like I'm always like, Aiden's listening,
Yeah.
and it's always like that. If he's listening, I have to make sure that I'm cautious with my words because that's what you're absorbing.
Right.
And so I think that we have been conscious about that. But it didn't, yeah, now I'm a psychologist, but this is just new, right? Like this is just in the last few years.
Right.
I think that initial understanding came from your mom because she was somebody that just knew that things needed to be different and we had to be different for you. And that was like, I don't know, it's just like really remarkable, like how some people just out of their sheer intuition just parent differently and
Right.
love differently, but also take from the gifts that our parents have been able to give us because they've done a lot of beautiful things for us. throughout the
Absolutely.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's been like a good mixture for you, right? Like a little
Yeah.
bit of grandma and grandpa, a little bit of me, Nina.
Yeah, I learned from everybody how everybody works, and then at a very young age, I just learned that everybody's different. Everybody makes mistakes, so everything's just like nobody's perfect,
Yeah.
and you just gotta live to accept with that.
What are some family traditions that you feel like you want to carry with you always? What are some things that,
Always, oof.
yeah.
I would say definitely the family dinners. Even when I have my own kids, the family dinners are definitely gonna be necessary. It brings out like how open we are with each other and the little inside jokes they matter too. And just like checkups all the time, just like, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? It's just like it brings a sense of reassurance to know that we're here for you, and I feel like everybody appreciates that. So
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know it was.
yeah,
It's working.
It's working.
I just don't speak on it.
Are you
but
just
yeah.
saying this to like?
No,
make
I'm
us
being
feel good?
serious.
'Cause
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know why? Like I guess most teenagers, if they do have that, they kind of take it for granted, right? They go out to family dinners or even gather in their homes, and they're sometimes even annoying by the fact that they have to be present in that moment, in that gathering. And so they either occupy themselves with the phone or try to somehow disengage, from the moment. And I feel like with Aiden, which is like partially maybe the reason why he shows so much maturity, is because he's always in the moment. Even when he's not understanding what's going on, when everybody's going crazy speaking Spanish, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
his mind is like, what's going on here? But he,
I would like to say that that's also coming from me. That I that I've taught some mindfulness here and there. No, it's not.
I'll let Aiden speak on that.
Some mindfulness of what? Depends. What? Of what?
The answer
Because
is no.
because we could be talking about the wrong thing here.
That's such
So
a
which
gentle-
one?
It's such a gentle and kind way of saying no. It wasn't you. It wasn't you, Nina. Cut it out. No, but I think innately it comes from you. You're just a very like even keel
Yeah.
person. You have the emotional, acuity and maturity that I think matches that, and that makes it so that you can partake in those mindful moments and just by way of your nature, right? Which is very, very like not the norm for your generation. Not
Right.
even for ours. Our generation
Right.
is on their phones a lot too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm not on my phone though, because don't get me wrong, almost like half the day I'm on my phone.
Oh,
And
even in school?
Sometimes in school, yeah, I'm gonna be
Oh,
honest.
so
But
the truth comes out.
but like I don't have A+ grades right now, so let's calm down. And I pay attention to all my classes. So let's just calm down now.
Check me.
I do be using my phone in all my classes, but like that's because I'm just like allowed to. Like I have that permission. Like it's not like as if I'm restricted to it. But just in general, because I know like COVID messed up a lot of us in different ways. And in my way it was just like, although like I'm sometimes like I'm in the moment like, okay, put this down, let's focus on this. Like I was during COVID, it made me more like isolated. Like I was more. That's why I'm in my room a lot too. Like my room almost became like a home in a sense. I'll just be in my room and then just relax, do what I gotta do, and then go to sleep. But the thing is, also notice that that's not like the most healthiest habit, which I've been trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
But I try in my own sense. So I do. I'm in the moment, but at times I will just like shy away and just be like, all right, let me just have my own time.
Yeah, and I think that especially coming from a home, an integrated home, right? Because he lives with me and my parents, and you're kind of in and out. Like I feel like there's very little alone time, right? There's very little space for privacy, for alone time, and that's important for a growing adolescent, to have their own space when they need it. Not to be in complete isolation, right?
Right.
But to just have your space.
Right.
But it's I see you being balanced about how you see the isolation, and I see you also like taking perspective to the fact that there was a COVID pandemic and isolation and a loneliness epidemic surged from that, and
Right.
that, you as human as you are, and as a person that went through that with the rest of us, like we're trying to figure out what does the balance between alone time and social time look like.
Right.
And so I hear you saying all of that, which is important.
Yeah, COVID affected us in different ways, so I just feel like that was one of the ways that it affected me. And I wouldn't say like, yeah, I would say that it kind of made me to who I am today. And I'm proud of who I am today, because also like that isolation, although it isn't like the most positive thing that you could get from it, it also teaches me how to be like dependent on myself, like not be so dependent on others, even though I know I have help. I know I can be me and depend on myself when I need it. Like don't
That's
give up
important,
on
yeah.
anything.
Sounds balanced.
Yeah,
Interdependent.
that's the word.
We
So
like
I
that
would
word.
like to take the moment to just say I just taught you something. So
Oh boy.
Always making it about you. What is this?
This
It's
is
Listen,
her podcast.
it is her podcast. My bad for stealing the spotlight. It's yours.
No, I will gladly give you the spotlight. You are like the light of my life. And also, talking to you is always like a breath of fresh air because you do, you offer like perspectives that are always like so valuable. And one of the things that your mother taught me to do with you is to listen. Like I remember when you were still very little, she had been, talking about how, if we don't listen now and take your stories, um, like into consideration, or like it just be with you in the moment when you want to tell your stories, like about puckins, um, then we're gonna miss the opportunity to really connect with you and bond. And I remember when you had your Jack. Remember Jack, your
His imaginary
imaginary
friend.
I couldn't get the word
You know,
out.
he doesn't remember his imaginary friend.
Jack was his name, and
Yeah,
we would
he lived
sit
in
through
New York.
Yeah, we would sit through stories of Jack,
Oh man.
and it would be important because that was what was important to you at that moment, right?
Right.
Right now, there are other things that are important. We're talking Drake, J. Cole, and other things, right? But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's important to foster those relationships and conversations early on. And your mother, again, cycle breaker out of intuition, just knew that that was something that was important for the long term.
Right.
And I learned through her.
Yeah, like setting a place at the table for Jack.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Okay. See, now I remember that part. I remember that. That brings back a memory.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jack wanted pizza. I feel like I wanted to really give you an opportunity to have a childhood to explore, many things, and your imagination was like so important for me because I knew there was going to be like a very short period that you were going to be expressing that side of you, right?
Right.
So I welcomed it and I tried to nurture it. And I'm like, well, you know what? Everybody gets to know Jack because that was what was important to him at that point in his time. And it only went on for like a couple of months. Like it didn't last very long. But again, it's something that, at the moment, it was real to you.
Right.
And so we needed to, as a family, instead of discourage you and tell you, oh no, you're making things up, why are you lying, and, put you down in any way, like we try to just, encourage that imagination. Like,
Right.
what else is going on? What does Jack want to do, and that was also kind of like a pathway for you to self-express,
Right.
right? So,
Now, Aiden, I know you have a very unique home situation, right, where a lot of the adults have been very explicit about breaking cycles, right? But not every kid has the experience that you do. So what would be a piece of advice that you would have for like a fellow peer who may be feeling like, misunderstood by their parents, or like they don't have the support that you have?
I would say just take your time with it. Don't rush into anything. Just make sure that you're getting your communication and that you're just trying to get your point across without being too aggressive in a way, so that they don't think, oh, why are you talking to me in this tone? Because that's how a lot of parents think, like the generation before us, like how, oh, why are you talking to me like this, when all we're trying to do is just communicate and just say, this is what's bothering me, this is what's wrong. Can we please like put a pause to this or stop this so that we could change it? Just like be very open. And yeah, openness is, I feel like, the biggest key to it. But time is just gonna do its thing, and you just gotta let it do its job.
It seems like you're also kind of like giving a bit of a message to the parents, like be more open in your communication with your kids,
Right.
and don't necessarily stick to rigid values around respect and like you respect me and then what I say goes and things like that.
Yeah.
and don't talk when I'm talking, and all those things that we grew up with as a norm and a rule. Like, you can't be part of adult conversations. You can't interrupt an adult when they're speaking to you, right? Because that was considered like a disrespect. So with Aiden, what we do is we're having a communication. It's not just me talking at him; it's me talking to him. So I open it for, I open the way for him to also express himself back to me. If he doesn't agree with something that I'm telling him to do, why don't you agree? What, and then that gives me an opportunity to then know what he's thinking and also be able to guide him and tell him, like, well, this is why it needs to be done. It's not one of those situations, well, because I said so. Because I said so doesn't give you an explanation. It's just giving you a directive and you gotta oblige whether you like it or not. Whereas when I explain things to him and I break it down, then he knows where I'm coming from. And he's like, well, okay. And sometimes he offers me a different perspective, right? Where he'll turn around, he's like, but mom, what if we do this instead? Wouldn't it be better? Like, I feel more comfortable. And I take a lot of his feelings and opinions into consideration, right? Like
Yeah.
we have a very negotiable type of relationship between mom and son. And so I think that really what he's trying to say is that, having that communication, right?
Yeah.
Having those dialogues and for the parents to be open to listen to their child, to listen to their point of view, to listen to their feelings and not just, no, you're doing this because this is what I think is best and this is what I said.
There have been times when I've actually witnessed what you're saying, and I've seen it in action, and I've been like almost kind of rolling my eyes at you,
Yeah.
and saying like, why are you being so permissive? Why are you being so open? Why does he have an opinion? Like in my head, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's just been important, and I see the impact in how emotionally mature he is, and I think that that's probably
Yeah,
one
it
of the best.
challenges everything we know, right? Growing up. And it's important with especially this generation, they want to be heard. And they have a lot of good ideas, they have a lot of good opinions, they form their personality very early on. They have the exposure we didn't, as far as the media and everything that also contributes to their thinking and their growth. So communication is key.
Yeah, and as the series says, break the cycle. Don't pass on, for the parents, don't pass on your traumas and how you were formed onto your children, because you never know, that cycle could continue on to the next generation that they're going to have. So
There you go.
What? It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Machuca.
Thanks, kid.
all right.
That was awesome. Thank you,
was.
guys.
Mhm.
There you have it. This was a wonderful episode. I hope that you really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the vulnerability. I hope that you enjoyed the actual lessons and the details within. And if you want to get into your own cycle breaking journey and need the tools for yourself, for your family members, friends, people that you love, then I invite you to buy my book, Break the Cycle, A Guide to Healing Intergenerational Trauma, where you'll be able to guide yourself through the different areas of intergenerational healing and really have a roadmap for the work ahead. I hope that you can hold steady to your heart and that you can feel settled as you navigate these tough terrains of breaking cycles, and just know that the work is worthwhile at the end. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.